Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the Style Table, where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style. Hey everybody, it's Yo Taylor back here at the Style Table. Today, my special guest is Kristi H Sullivan. She's a human design and self-care expert. She is a best-selling author and speaker on a mission to help busy women stop overworking and start overflowing. Kristi, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Yo.
So how do you help women stop overworking, which we all do. We do everything as women, and start overflowing? We need that too.
Yeah. And, my own story kind of had me in that mode. I felt like that was part of my Eastern European upbringing, was work hard to be successful. And so when I discovered a tool called human design, which I feel like was really part of my self-care process. I'm the type of person who loved personality assessments and finding out more about myself and uncovering sort of what's underneath, what makes me tick. I really felt like this human design tool that I came across was a great eye-opener for me and helped me to know myself on a much deeper level. It helped me also to realize that what I was doing to try to make things happen in my life, to whether it was build my career or a side business that I wanted to turn into full-time, I just was doing it in an energy that wasn't in alignment with actually how I was naturally operating or encoded to operate. Your human design is based on your birth date, sort of like astrology. And when you discover the information that tool has about your unique energy blueprint, for me, it helped me with realizing, wow, I think I'm overworking on what I'm trying to do. And when I shifted, things just started to flow, and that overflow was much easier and effortless.
Okay. So astrology. Okay. I get it. I will say I am a March person, and I am always working so hard, and I'm an Aries, and I'm fire, and I'm always like all over the place doing 100 different things at once. And sometimes I feel like I'm pedaling and working, and I'm doing a lot of work, but I'm not getting anything done. Does that make sense?
Yes. And we think of the astrology as those 12 zodiac signs, which help us to understand sort of the box that we're in with astrology. Like we might be Aries like you, or Libra like me, where we share qualities. Human design is also based on 3 or 4 other modalities. Astrology is one, then the chakra system, Kabbalah, I Ching, and quantum physics. And with those connections together, they create what's a unique energy blueprint. So your design, even if I were born in March on the same day, because our time would be different and probably location, we would have a different design, different chart. And so one of the most common things I hear, and when I looked up your design before we started, is that, wow, I feel so busy. And 70% of the population, according to this tool, are what's called the generator type. That's sort of a category, but a starting place. And the generators, we like to be busy. We like to be productive. But if we're trying to make things happen and initiate and almost like force things like, I got to do this. I have to say yes to that. What's happening is we're really disconnected from the energy of responding and the energy of really checking in with ourselves, slowing down to know what are the things we should really say yes to and what do we need to say no to, because then we're conserving our energy for the things that are really going to make us feel really good and light us up in our work that we're doing. And that's for 70% of the population, typically.
Okay. So it's great to feel that know that it's not just me.
It's not.
Because when you're overworking, a lot of that, like you said, a lot of us as women, we are overflowing because we keep saying yes to everything. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And it's so easy to lose yourself because you're taking care of everything. And part of what I do as a wardrobe strategist, I help women have a platform or have a tool that they can look and say, okay, I've been doing everything else for everybody, packing for everybody else, doing everything else. I can look at this. Look, Yo's already got my whole suitcase packed. I put all this in my suitcase, so I have a little time for self-care for me. So this is my self-care tool that I don't have to worry about and stressing out what to pack for vacation, because I've packed for the kids, my husband, everybody. I've taken care of everybody, and I'm always last.
Yeah, and self-care comes in so many different forms. And I think the more that we, especially as women, allow ourselves that time to, whether it's do something specifically for ourselves, not for somebody else, to do something like exercise or movement or rest and restoring. Whenever we pay attention to how we're treating ourselves, what we're doing, there's a ripple effect. We actually, slowing down, I think, is helpful for connecting to what are the things that you do need to do for yourself. And we often are just like going through the day, and we're like, the end of the day is here, and we're like, oh my gosh, I didn't do any self-care. I've just been responding. But when you are doing that self-care, you're managing your energy. You're helping your energy to operate optimally. And that also has a ripple effect to the people that you're taking care of and coworkers and that you surround yourself with. So it's really important more than ever that we focus on that self-care.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I never really, it's so funny because after 50, I realized, I need to take care of me. It's okay to say no. And for all these years, I just never did it. And so what you're saying, young women, take note. Kristi's going to tell us about her books, because you need to grab one of those books and get ahead of the game. You don't want to wait till you're 50 to figure out how to put yourself first and stop overworking. And Kristi, tell us about your books.
Thank you. So I actually have been in a number of collaborative books where I wrote a chapter with other contributing authors. And so they're kind of like chicken soup for the soul books, where you can open up any chapter, you read this amazing story from one of the authors, and then a tip or tool for the reader to actually be able to do at home. The very first one that I was in was called The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing. That came out in 2020 when my friend, who's a publisher, had to close her physical therapy practice. So she wanted something for women to be able to do at home. So I wrote a chapter in there about self-care, and I went on to do 5 more books similar to that, where I contributed a chapter and told my story of how I realized how important self-care was during few years of some upheaval in my life, where my father had Alzheimer's, and I was really faced with some challenges in caregiving during his final stage with my mom. And second was a crisis in my marriage. And the third was a change in my job and career that I had for about 20 years. So self-care at the time was like, I need to do this to stay grounded and to just work on who I was. When the book opportunities came along, I wanted to share that story and share and inspire to others doing self-care. And then also I wrote some chapters and produced a book with information about the human design tool, because that was one of the most impactful things to date that I've learned to help me understand who I really am authentically. So I just really enjoy teaching, learning, and teaching to others and sharing. And that's why I have 6 books now.
That is so awesome. I'm gonna try to channel that. I'm a part of a book called Women Who Boss Up, the Women Who Boss Up series, and I am inspiring women professionals who boss up. I'm in that book, and that was so exciting. That's coming out soon. So
Congrats.
it is. Thank you. It's awesome to be a part of something with women who are doing great things and want to help other women and be a part of the solution. So that's what it's all about. It's about what we want to leave to the world,
Yes.
and to women. Yes, yes. So, Kristi, tell us about your style. You're a public speaker, so you're up in front of people, you're interviewing, you're on book tours. Tell us about how you choose to show up for these things. What are
Yeah.
some of the decisions you make?
So I find that, I'm passionate when I'm talking about human design and self-care. I've done a lot of podcasts and spoken at some conferences and workshops over the last few years. I always try to share my story because I think storytelling is such a great way to connect to people. And also to just meet women, particularly women I tend to speak to in the audience and have as my clients, just to meet them where they're at. We are really all uniquely built, and we're all here showing up with unique stories. And I think that we can not only learn from each other and connect to each other in those different ways, but what self-care means to me is not what it means to another woman. So I don't believe so much in following a formula or a way of what doing is for me may not be the same for somebody else, but to help them find out what's their unique formula and what do they need in this time of their life, whether it's self-care or doing some of that inner work. So we're all in different places. I also have a background in marketing and love to support women and their small business growth. So usually, I show up kind of with those multiple hats of like marketing, personal development, student, teacher. And I just, I love connecting with women. That's part of my human design is the network building that I've done.
Now, let's talk about the outward style. When you think about dealing with people on the inside, do you dress when you're on a stage? Do you take are you mindful of like the colors you choose? Are you mindful of the audience or the guest that invites you when you make a decision on on what to wear when you show up?
Yeah, and definitely. And I know like having a stylist is so helpful because when I actually changed my job and career in 2020, I didn't go from, an in-person office to in-person events. At that time, we were all really mainly on Zoom and connecting like virtually. So I suddenly felt like my wardrobe, I was going from this corporate wardrobe to kind of like half corporate, like my, above the waist. I was like, well, what am I wearing when I'm on screen? I also teach yoga on the side. So I was like, sometimes in the morning I was dressing for yoga, and then I had to switch outfits. But I also wanted at that point to reinvent myself. And nowadays I'm doing more in person. So I appreciate that I still have that style that I like, which is showing up with pattern or color or things that make me feel good, but comfort too. And then I can quickly change into that yoga outfit if I need to. But it's kind of juggling a bit, multitasking, and definitely still being mindful that I want to show up in a way that I can be relatable, but also it makes me feel like who I am.
See, and I always say that's so important because, and also, I want to tell the audience, you can be stylish and comfort is a big part of that. It is, just because you have on this high-end designer, if you're not comfortable in it, you're not going to deliver the information well in it. So comfort and style go hand in hand. And when you're over 40, over 50, you really understand that. You really understand that comfort and style go hand in hand in how you present yourself, how you show up, how you deliver the information in meetings, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I love that. I love that you can be comfortable and stylish and you feel good, and that energy flows. That energy flows. It's a package. You feel good on the inside. You look good on the outside and you also look good on the outside because you are comfortable. You're comfortable. You're walking in the room. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
Recently, too, I went on a trip and had to be mindful of what I was packing because I was taking a carry-on onto a plane. It had to be a certain size. And what's funny, when you started talking about packing a suitcase, I used to work for a travel company, and I used to teach and speak a class called How to Pack a Suitcase. And, I want to, again, be comfortable when I'm traveling, but also take pieces with me that, I can interchange. And one other thing I notice when I travel is sometimes I like to pick up an item, whether it be something that I wear or even like jewelry from the place that I visited, because it reminds me of also that piece of that time that I traveled and the memory of it.
And I'm a retired flight attendant, and I can tell you this: flight attendants are happy when you don't overpack and you pack the right things and you don't overpack. So the bag fits in the overhead bin.
Yeah. Someone I was with, they were like, "That's all you brought?" And I'm like, I know how to pack where I can, get what I need in this suitcase and not have, way too much. Yeah.
That is so perfect. Kristi, I have enjoyed our time here today talking about what you do, how you help women. It's so inspiring, and it's something that is a reminder. We'll still forget. I mean, you'll be on that trajectory to do everything that you've learned from today and when you read Kristi's book and books. But, these are types of books and subject matter that you'll have to keep revisiting, because we have to remind ourselves that this is stuff that we need to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves so we can better take care of our loved ones. Kristi, please tell us how we can find you.
Thank you. I have a website that's easy. My name, Kristi H Sullivan. Just use that middle initial. And I also can be found on social media. I'm pretty active on Facebook, and I have a Facebook group called Kristi's Human Design and Self-Care Community. And I also am on Instagram as Kristi H Sullivan. And I'd love if people want to reach out. On my Facebook page, I usually post events and workshops I'm hosting to teach about human design or other topics. And I'd love to connect. Thank you.
And you guys know where you can find me, Yo Taylor at the Style Table. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, at the Style Table LLC. You can see Kristi on YouTube. This interview with many other fabulous women who are helping to be a part of the solution on At the Style Table LLC on YouTube. I also have created a show coming up September 26th on Mondays called My Style Mondays. and at 7 p.m. So come in and join the conversation, join Style Closets and Diva Dens Facebook group, and come in and enjoy the fun. All right. We will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.